Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans. Let's stick mainly with college football, maybe a little auto racing. But welcome to the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. And then I'll get to my question. Clay, would you like? I mean, we're going to, thanks to you going out with your little camera, we've got some video of the 1996 team's reunion under the auspices of the Second and Seven Foundation, run by, basically right now, what'd you call
Ryan
it?
Miller.
Directed by Ryan Miller. Of course, Mike Vrabel and Luke Fickell are part of that, way back when. We had Ryan Miller on our show, remember?
Yeah.
A month or so ago, just talking about things. But they organized this reunion of the 1996 Ohio State football team, which came so close to a national championship. There was a lot going on off the field in college football at that time, but you got to go out to Wedgewood Country Club and see a lot of these guys. It was mainly defensive guys you ran into. Yeah, I guess the offensive guys were getting there late, if you follow my drift. But, ladies and gentlemen, even the Tim May Show has deadlines. But, Clay, that was kind of cool to see these guys who woulda, coulda, shoulda in a bowl championship series, or maybe not bowl championship series. That came along in 98. But in a college football playoff, woulda, coulda, shoulda won a national championship, right, except for that one loss to the team up north.
Yeah, 13-9. It's emblazoned, but they did so many great things. Averaged 39.6 points a game.
Dude,
you're right.
They lit it up.
Stan Jackson came a little later, and so did Mike Wiley. Would have loved to talk to either one of those guys, but this defense, and I guess I just kind of, once I saw Pug and John Tenuta there and the Silver Bullets and allowing 10.4 points a game or something very measly like that.
Yep.
But I think that the thing that strikes you immediately is the brotherhood, man. And so many of the guys who were there live in this area, but it was kind of like, oh man, it's so good to see, the Hoyings and the Katzenmoyer,
Greg Belisari.
Yeah, all those Belisaris. And but Pug, he went up to Coop, and Coop said, "I heard you're playing golf 4 times a week." It was 5. Coop 5. But just the backslapping and the glad handing and the truly, it's like Ryan Miller says, and you'll hear it. It's so emblazoned in our DNA now.
Yeah.
See the fellas there.
Yeah, let's watch them kind of mingle a little bit here before we get into some of the interviews.
Gary Berry. There's Greg Belisari.
Yep. Kevin Griffin was there.
Clay's panning here wildly, but there's Gary Berry. Bill Conley. Anthony Gwynn. And I'm going to move in here.
Ryan Miller giving Anthony Gwynn a massage.
That's one of the tight ends, I believe. Mr. Lodeman.
What's up? What you been doing?
Ty Howard.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, good time was had by all, I'm sure, but
you bet.
The Wedgewood Country Club, hosting it and things. You just got to remember about this team. Came so close. Probably should have been voted the number 1 team in the country after it was all done, because Florida got a second shot at Florida State for the national championship. Florida got beat by Florida State earlier in the year,
and they killed them
and got a rematch. Just think if this team had been voted number 1, Steve Spurrier, would he have a statue at Florida now? All these things that could have happened. Of course, Ohio State wins the Rose Bowl for the first time in 20 years that season, goes on to the Rose Bowl, beats Jake Plummer and the Arizona State Wildcats in a great Rose Bowl game.
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah, and Joe Germain with the last minute drive with a touchdown pass to David Boston to seal it. But Stan Jackson had some moments of glory in that game also, including the late great Demetrius Stanley. That touchdown pass to Stanley down the middle. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
In the second half, that really.
That was a highlight.
Man. Oh yeah, but I mean, it'd been so long.
Yeah.
It had been so long for Ohio State to even play in the Rose Bowl. They hadn't played in it since '84, and then to go out there and win it for John, with John Cooper at the helm. I mean, it was a big deal. And I know John, you talk to him here in a minute, but real quick before we move on, I mean, except for the 13-9 loss to Michigan, this was as good a team, in my opinion. And if the thing about it, it was as good a team as Ohio State's had. I mean, it's right up there with any of them.
It is.
In terms of talent and everything else. And the funny thing about it is, this was the year after the year when they should have just dominated.
Right.
Which was the 95 team, which had Eddie George, a Heisman Trophy winner,
Bobby Hoying,
Terry Glenn, Ricky Dudley, right on down the line. But, I really looked at 96 covering that team as a rebuilding, maybe not rebuilding because there's no such thing at Ohio State, right?
Right.
But a plugging, I guess is the thing. Reloading is the term I was looking there for, deep into the recesses of my mind, because they were replacing so many superstar dudes. And then, but you think about, they had Mike Vrabel, they had Matt Finkus, who you talked to on this thing. Obviously, I guess Mike Vrabel wasn't there. He's got bigger concerns maybe right now. Who knows? Maybe he showed up after you left. But if you follow my drift, this was a team that was reloading. You had Sean Springs, though, at a cornerback. I mean,
Ty Howard.
Yeah, Ty Howard, Matt Finkus, Mike Vrabel on the front, Luke Fickell in the middle of that defense.
There you go.
And then offensively, obviously Mike Wiley is a freshman, but the running back, Pepe Pearson, stepping up right on down the line. I mean, David Boston and D. Miller, but it is what it is, as the old saying goes. I'm sure you've got at least one guy reminiscing about that. We'll talk about that in a minute after we run the video. But what stands out about it is these guys all still look pretty good, don't they? That's 30 years ago, brother.
Matt Finkus said, I'm getting in a week, or maybe a month, I'm going to have a life insurance policy checkup. So I've got to lose 10 pounds.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not going to
get that A1C under control too, brother.
Yeah. So he was joking about that. He goes, I'm not eating anything today.
Yeah.
So he thinks he can pull it off. He goes, that's $5,000.
Yeah.
That's $5,000 or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Anyway, Matt, he's a good soul. He's it was fun to be around. And Tenuta, who lives in Apex, North Carolina.
Yeah. I know where that is actually, but go ahead. Go ahead.
He was, and his wife and mine were somewhat friends from the elementary school days. And so anyway, I told him to give Dory a nice hello from my wife, Pat. So, but he was very proud. His son is on the Colts roster, and he says, I spend most, fall Sundays, I'm traveling.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And he's got 4 grandkids now. And I said, well, I'm 2 behind you. But it was good to see him there. I was surprised because I wasn't quite sure where home was for John, who went to Upper Arlington. We were in the class of 75 together. And anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the interesting thing about John Tenuta and Fred Puckett both being there. And, man, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I was telling you, I mean, my cell phone decided to go on Saturday. And it's kind of like literally, it's a psychological amputation when you don't, not a true amputation. Don't get me wrong. But when you don't have your cell phone, and man, who knew Batteries Plus could fix cell phones? But Dave and Derek at Batteries Plus and Hilliard bailed me out because this went from being a bathroom tile to back to being a cell phone today. And I'm very thankful for that. But the point was, because I would like to have been there myself at Wedgewood. But I would like to have engaged, for example, like you talked to primarily defensive guys who got there early. It tells you something about defensive guys, man.
They showed up.
Yeah. But there was that big debate on where the Silver Bullets defense came from. And, Fred Puckett got a lot of credit for it, but John Tenuta deserves as much credit as Fred Puckett probably when you dice it up, because John Tenuta brought a new way of looking at things with that defense. And John Tenuta as irascible, is that the best word for him?
And he's such a strong, incredible defensive back, secondary coach. That was his thing.
Yeah.
And
but I'm talking about his personality. He was
well.
I did a story one time on sitting outside the locked gates of a closed practice, and I did a story on John Tenuta coaching.
Really?
Listening to what he was saying, because you could hear it over the gates.
Yeah.
And over the shrouds that, as I used to say to John Cooper when they'd run us out of practice, I said, "This is when y'all practice that top secret stuff you never run, except the I didn't use the word stuff, but I mean, this is a great group of guys. I mean, Greg Belisari is about as solid a dude as you're ever gonna meet in life. I mean, went on to be a orthopedic surgeon, I think. I remember doing a story with him at his apartment up off Olentangy River Road.
University Commons,
or something like Olentangy Commons or something like that. And and he has, he's one of those guys that said he was going to be a doctor or whatever, and became one. You know what I mean? That's no shot at anybody else, but man, it not only takes smarts, it takes stick-to-itiveness.
Oh man!
And I always liked him. I just we'll get the interview with him. Maybe I'll add some more comments in a minute. But
there was a point today where Ryan Miller was kind of emceeing a little thing off the back porch of Wedgewood, and the people were getting in their carts and heading out, and he was doing a little emceeing there, and the mic was going in and out, and out. And he called up Greg Belisari. There was some honor. Anyway, he took the mic, went straight through his spiel with no problems. And Ryan went back. He goes, "No wonder he was the captain."
Right.
That Mike was scared. And
a magnanimous dude, too. Remember when they brought Andy Katzenmoyer in? Greg had been the middle linebacker the year before, the Mike linebacker, and he moved out to the edge, along with Ryan Miller were the two edge guys. And they put Andy Katzenmoyer in the middle as a freshman.
Yeah.
And, man, did he live up to the billing.
Yes.
All kinds of ways. You got a little, comments from him also in here. Andy, the big cat, one of my favorite dudes. Almost all these guys are right up there in my rankings.
Yeah.
Might as well, And but who do you want to play first? Let's play John Cooper.
Okay.
Little comments you got from John Cooper, the head coach, the much maligned head coach at some points, who got after the 94 season, after the loss at Penn State, the 63-14 loss at Penn State. A lot of people were thinking, "Oh my goodness,
it's over.
It's going to be the beginning of the end." But Andy Geiger helped arrange that Tunnel of Pride.
Yes.
Before the Michigan game that year, and all these former players showed up, and Ohio State ran out the Tunnel of Pride, and they beat Michigan for the first time in the John Cooper era. And despite what Gordon Gee says, the tie in 1992 was not. It might. You understand what he was saying, but when he says one of our greatest wins ever, he just meant they didn't lose.
Right.
Of course, back then there was no tiebreaker rule, but 94.
Did they win 94 22-6?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think it sounds like that, 22-6, 22-7.
Yeah.
I remember Joey Galloway had a touchdown catch in that game, and some other big plays. But the bottom line was that was a big moment because we thought the Cooper era was going to be over after 94, but it endured, and they ended up in 95, 96.
10-0.
Even 97. 97, they went to Michigan, could have beaten the number one team in the country. Michigan's last national championship until it won 3 years ago in the bowl championship series. But they could have won the national championship. They could have kept Michigan from winning the national championship and got beat by a touchdown up there. Wasn't a great day for Stan Jackson. Stan Jackson, though, went on to have a hell of a Rose Bowl.
Yeah, he did.
Along with Joe Germain in 96 at the end of the 96 season. But yeah, Cooper endured. And in my opinion, 95, 96, and 98, three of the better teams in history at Ohio State.
Ever. Yeah.
Among the elite.
Yeah.
But we'll get into some more of that discussion. Let's have a little listen here what John Cooper had to say about things.
You're good, buddy. Coach, can you believe it's been 30 years?
I tell you, I tell people I hadn't lost. They asked me how you doing. I said I'm doing great. I hadn't lost a game in 30 years. Time flies by, and I got news for you. The older you get, the faster it goes.
What's it like to see all these guys today?
Oh, it's great, fantastic, and going back is it's real. It's not a wonder now that we weren't as good as we were. Look at it. Jesus Christ! No wonder we won games. They're great players.
What's the most vivid memory of the '96 season for you?
The Notre Dame game. The Notre Dame game. You know, we hadn't played them in, I don't know, 20 years or something like that.
Right.
We got them in 96 and 97, right?
95 and 96.
95 and 96.
Yeah.
That was a great win.
But the Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl, yeah.
The Rose Bowl cements your legacy because you won one in the Pac-12 now and the Big Ten.
The only coach to win the Rose Bowl is a head coach from the Pac-10 and the Big Ten, in the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame, and that's not bad for an old country boy like me.
So you vividly remember Jermaine to Boston.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Never forget that. Never forget that.
And to see these guys today, it's
a double
it's
question,
huge, right?
It really is. Brings back great memories for me. Great memories. Yeah.
Good to see you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Yeah. Try to play golf with Coach Cooper at least once a year, but sometimes twice. Sometimes you got to get up early, though, because he likes to play early, and he likes to play
Fast.
at a brisk pace.
Yes.
And he can still hit the ball right down the middle, which is – and you know what? Pretty much anything inside 6 to 8 feet's a gimme.
He picks it up.
Oh, yeah. That's a gimme. But the bottom line is, of course, he's become an older gentleman now. I still think he's in tremendous shape.
He is, yeah.
I keep wanting him to do like a little video or book with me or video because I don't like to write. I didn't like to write when I was writing. I still don't like to write now. But just about how do you do it? I mean, what's your daily regimen to be this spry and brisk, thinking for the most part? Of course, you're going to get some things mixed up when you coach as many games as he coached as a head coach. But it's funny how you mix up that because 95, that win in Ohio Stadium over Notre Dame. Buddy.
That was
you can still see Terry Glenn taking that little turn in and then cutting it up and outrunning the fastest man in college football for the touchdown, reputed fastest man, and Sean Springs baiting Ron Powless and then getting that interception. Just set the stage for 96, really, as it turned out. But and of course, Eddie George going crazy on him too on his way to the Heisman. Boy, Eddie George had two. I know we're talking about the 96 team, but just think about that Notre Dame game and then that game against Illinois. I mean, because he had clinched the Heisman before they got beat by Michigan in 95.
Right.
Man, as I said about John Cooper many times, his career at Ohio State's like a brilliant scarlet tie with a splotch of mustard right in the middle of it. Because, man, couple more wins over Michigan and people would be thinking much differently about him. And I remind them every time when they cast aspersions, he is the second winningest coach in Ohio State history. We'll see if Ryan Day surpasses that. But
I think 111 and 43.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Now, Woody had whatever it was.
200 and something.
Yeah. Over 200, I think.
205.
But the point is, it's still a good trivia answer.
I'll tell you how he keeps in shape. He and Helen are a fixture in
the neighborhood.
They walk and walk and walk. And the nice thing, because I would bump into him from time to time, and people were very nice. I mean,
oh yeah,
the longer you endure, and he always said, "I'll always be a Buckeye." So, anyway.
I'll never forget this little pipsqueak dude screaming at me at the top of his lungs. He's about this tall, walking in toward the locker room after that loss in 1996 in the stadium, and just, you got to get him. I mean, he was like, he just wanted, I think he thought we had guns. We could go in there and execute John Cooper.
Take him out.
As the media and stuff. And, dude.
Couldn't take it.
No offense, dude, but it's a football game.
Yeah.
I would like to punch that guy out, actually. But, but we're professionals, aren't we, Clay? Or we used to play one on TV, didn't you?
Yeah, you try to, straight and narrow. But it is funny. The older you get, man, I find myself, and my wife has had to, like, a couple of times, there'd be something about someone, either Coop or Day or something, or quarterback, and I was like, what have you done?
Right.
You got any kids starting quarterback at
Right.
Ohio State?
Right. By the way, something that happened over the weekend.
How about that?
RJ Day already had an offer from a Northwestern. Then he committed to Northwestern. RJ Day is going to be a quarterback for a Big Ten team. We'll see how it goes from now.
Yeah.
But it was such a joy to have him and his father on our show last week. And boy, some of the excerpts that I think Tim Ham, our coordinating producer out of Dallas, has drawn out of that and put together. Have gotten good play, but the bottom line is it was a very fun interview to do. Like I called them twins, but they aren't twins. And his dad, you heard him saying that his son has now exceeded what he was as a quarterback, which is interesting because I think Ryan was a hell of a quarterback, at University of New Hampshire even. And, but yeah, his son, man, getting it done for DeSales. Yeah. And we'll see where they can go this year in the playoffs, or if they, if they get to the playoffs, how that goes your senior year, but has committed to sign with Northwestern in December as part of the 2027 class. And, we wish him best of luck times 50.
Well, he's going to have Chip Kelly in his ear,
and
morning, noon, and night.
Rick Neuheisel's son is his quarterback coach. The guy that kind of helped resurrect UCLA last year after they fired their coach early in the season. And I can't remember his first name. Is it Jerry? But anyway, we'll call him Coach Neuheisel. But wow. What a group of guys you're walking into. And, Dave Brown, the head coach at Northwestern, boy, he took the job in the strangest of circumstances when they got rid of Pat Fitzgerald, who's now, by the way, first year as his head coach at Michigan State. His career has been resurrected. But the bottom line is where they've come, just talking about stick-to-itiveness. Northwestern has stuck with those guys, and now he's bringing in Neuheisel and Chip Kelly. The interesting thing is, what is Chip Kelly's commitment? Because he was at Ohio State for 1 year. They won a national championship as offensive coordinator. Then took what he hoped would be sort of his dream job as a coordinator in the National Football League, and that lasted what?
That was about
10 games. I don't remember.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was a house fire he walked into.
Yeah.
With the Las Vegas Raiders. But the bottom line is, got fired in the middle of the year last year, and then I think to a lot of people's a surprise when Northwestern
was to me.
I could see Northwestern being interested, but the reciprocal thing,
you
just wonder. But Northwestern with that new dome stadium they're building on campus,
35,000 seats, but they can fill that.
Dude, if they can get their football team really playing big, that's going to be a pit.
Hot ticket.
And that's a pit and a good thing, like a barbecue pit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A smoker pit. Mm-hmm. Heat's going to be rolling there. But don't overstretch yourself. I've always said about venues, it's better for there to be a line outside trying to get in.
That's right.
Than trying to go down on the corner and sell tickets.
That's right.
So we'll see how that follows. But anyway, congratulations to RJ Day. I thought he was really good on our podcast last week, and his mom is one of the great people you'll ever run into, and of course, how we feel about his dad,
you bet,
Ryan Day. But speaking of setting the scene, let's go to Ryan Miller, because Ryan Miller, like we said, one of the founders of the 2nd and 7 Foundation, along with Luke Fickle and Mike Vrabel. But they put together this what do you want to call it? Shindig.
For
the 1996 team. And by the way, they also honored Ross Bjork at that for helping foster along, because 2nd and 7 is all about getting young kids to reading,
fighting illiteracy,
but getting them into the idea of reading, because reading is fun. They provide little books and stuff for little youngsters in elementary school and stuff. Go ahead.
Famous books, the Hog Mollies.
Yeah, the Hog Mollies.
No, and there's other programs. Reading is fundamental. You got to be able to handle that, to progress yourself in life. But Ryan Miller's a very, to me, native. I think I met his family my first year here. I think. They're Michiganders,
yes,
as he was, and yet now his whole life is in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
he is so entrenched with his company, with 2nd and 7. He has a graphics company.
Right.
He's just he's good people, man.
He's an accomplished individual, and he's basically sort of cosmopolitan, I think is the best way of putting it. And
okay,
he never forgets where he came from. I mean,
Right.
that's especially Ohio State. And I'm glad he lived in North Carolina for a while. I think his wife was in medical school.
she was.
Yeah, and but then they came back. They matriculated back like a lot of these Buckeyes do, man. They find paradise, whatever form that is, in Central Ohio, and good for them. But let's get to
Okay.
what he had to say to you at this shindig. Is that our best way of putting it? Maybe, yeah, shindig at Wedgewood Country Club.
Feel like 30 years.
In some respects it doesn't, in some respects it does, but it's really kind of an amazing thing to see all those friendships through the years just stay as thick as they've ever been. And that's probably the thing that people don't realize when you go and play at Ohio State. Those bonds and those friendships, they last forever, and today's a great example of that.
And this is a 2nd and 7 outing, right? I mean,
Yeah. Well, and then the reality is, 2nd and 7 started by a bunch of former Buckeyes.
Right.
And through the years, these guys have been our teammates in tackling illiteracy, and they've been to a lot of our events. So for them to come here and be honored, it's really great, because all the people who have supported 2nd and 7 through the years, they got to know a lot of our teammates, and they all become a big family. Our huddle gets bigger the older we get.
There you go. And what's the most vivid memory of the 96 season?
Oh my goodness, probably the most vivid memory is definitely when Joe Germain hits David Boston for that touchdown, and I'll never forget walking off that field victorious with all my best friends in that locker room celebrating. There's nothing better than that.
Amen.
Exactly.
Nothing beats it. And then of course they stopped because Jake Plummer was determined they were going to go back down and win that game. And it's interesting. You got some. We're going to play the Greg Belisari, Fred Puckett sound here in just a second. But man, I will never forget when they stopped them. Greg Belisari running off the field.
Yes.
And I can't remember if it was with both hands or I said I'll never forget, but he was going like this.
Yeah.
And that was when the song, the roof is on fire. And there's Greg Belisari, usually pretty composed and controlled, out of his shoes with excitement and ecstasy. But wait, let's go ahead and get to that. I mean, Fred Puckett, obviously the defensive coordinator that first year of when they basically became known as the Silver Bullets. And, what an interesting time, because there was a big turnover from one year to the next there in 95, not just in personnel, but in coaching staff and a lot of other things. But obviously John Tenuta showed up. Wilson, the first name escapes me, but had been the defensive coordinator under Cooper when he first got there and stuff. And then they moved on, and Fred Puckett, I think he went to Oklahoma, and then Fred Puckett got pushed up as defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Tenuta helped with that, et cetera. Remember, like I said, there's that big debate on who really brought in the Silver Bullets defensive approach, but it was all about, for want of another term, attack. I mean, get after it, force the action, don't lay back, don't let the action come to you, get after things. And it changed immensely. And that, of course, the Silver Bullet ethic endures today. Yeah. So let's get to Greg Belisari and Fred Puckett, who you pulled aside there.
Fellas, does it feel like 30 years since
I said no. What do you say, Coach?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're 38 years old like I am, it's been a good run since then, but it's a long time ago.
It's no wonder you won so many games. You guys gave up 10 points a game in 96. What's the pride of that now, Greg?
Well, I mean, we take a lot of pride in that. Coach Puckett set the tempo and the culture of our defense. We had a lot of pride, a lot of great players, obviously. We were super competitive. We competed every day, and that's what those coaches laid out for us. And we're very proud of that effort the whole year,
Was it fun to coordinate these fellas?
Well, let me tell you something. It's like, that saying, you win with people. Well, that's exactly what we did. And great bunch of guys, great talent, and they worked hard, and we had the Silver Bullets flying around.
Yeah, you did. You win with players too, right?
You win with people.
What's the most vivid memory, Greg, of that season?
I would say the culmination of everything was us standing on that podium with the Rose Bowl. You know, you grew up in Coach Puckett's era or my era, you wanted to play in the Rose Bowl, and that was it. And when you win that Rose Bowl, for us to win that on the way out as a senior, last dance for us was really special.
I agree. You know, the Rose Bowl win, I played in it and coached in it, and that was the bar that we set for ourselves then.
Right. And nobody's gained a pound since, right?
Yeah, that's right. Not me, at least.
I haven't. I'm under playing weight.
Appreciate you. Thanks,
you.
fellas.
All right.
That was great. You know, it was really all kinds of memories coming back. You know, like, you know, Fred Puckett set the Rose Bowl record, I think, at one point for catches in a game, you know, and way back in the 70s, which was back in the 70s.
Right.
And, you know, when in doubt, air it out. You know, I think Woody had some doubts sometimes, so he aired it out. But it was cool. You know, like Greg said, back then, the Rose Bowl, getting to the Rose Bowl was the goal for a Big Ten team. And this was in that era when they were a-changing. And the Big Ten and Pac-10 at that point were not part of the Bowl Coalition, which came along in the mid-'90s, the precursor to the Bowl Championship Series, because there was this real push, because there quite a few times during that, over 30 or 40 years, there had been co-champions, one by the UPI and one by the Associated Press. UPI was the coaches poll, and the Associated Press was the writers poll. I remember I first started voting in that in 1984 when I started covering Ohio State. I was a beat writer for covering Ohio State for the Columbus Dispatch. And, you know, I think Ohio State's first two national championships under Woody were co-championships, you know, depending on where you look. But 54 and 57. 68 was, whatever you call it, unanimous or whatever you want, you know, how you want to define it.
The super soft.
Yeah. And then, of course, Ohio State didn't win another one until it was the Bowl Championship Series. The Bowl Championship Series came along in 1998. That's when the Big Ten and Pac-10 joined the group along with the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl was – because why would you give up? Think about what the debate was there. Why would you, as a conference or two conferences, give up your affiliation with the granddaddy of the bowl games?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of national championships, because it was kind of like, what's that song? All the gold in California is in a bank in Beverly Hills under somebody else's name. When in college football, it was the name was the Rose Bowl, because that's every bowl wanted to be the Rose Bowl back then.
Yeah, that was so. Though I went to high school here, it was just a couple of years. We had moved and went to school in the South, but when I got this job in '95, it was so apparent to me. First kickoff, whatever, you want to play in Pasadena.
Oh yeah,
I mean that was everything. The granddaddy of them all, and that's changed now. It's a shame.
Yeah,
because it is an incredible setting and all of that, and the great games that go with it. I thought it was just apropos that Urban Meyer finished his career, you know, in that sinking sun.
Oh yeah,
by the mountains.
He does too, man. He won 3 national championships, but having a Rose Bowl victory and beating Oregon, by the way.
Yeah.
No, excuse me, Washington in that game, but having that victory, it made, you know, he was kind of torn about calling it quits, but then he was pretty settled into it. And I'll never forget J.K. Dobbins sitting next to him on the picture stand a couple of days before the game, and J.K. Dobbins was in tears because he realized this was going to be Urban Meyer's last game. It was interesting, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, people have their own opinions about Urban Meyer. That's too bad. Not too bad. You're allowed your own opinion. Excuse me, folks. I think Bill of Rights which is so in vogue these days, the last several years to invoke it. You know, your freedom of thought and expression is yours. You know, that the thought police do what they will with it. But yeah. And what they hadn't been to the Rose Bowl you said since in 1996, they had not been to the Rose Bowl since 1984. And like I've told people many times, when I first started covering Ohio State in 1984, they were the only team ever in the round robin era of the Big Ten to win the Big Ten outright with 2 conference losses. But that was a weird time in the Big Ten. A lot of schools were finding their footing, et cetera. And that was 1984. And they went out there and got beat by Southern California, which had, the last time they'd been to the Rose Bowl was after the 1995 season, right? Yeah, 72, 73, 74, 75. Archie and his group went to 4 straight Rose Bowls. And so it was still a big deal in 1979. They went to the Rose Bowl and got beat by USC.
Right.
And then that was the last previous time they had been until 84. And then 84 was the last previous time until 96.
The history lesson you get here.
Yeah,
with this
but even me, I had to kind of rewrite history there as I was writing it. But the point is, it literally became El Dorado for Ohio State and Big Ten teams. And we know that Michigan had that run back in the 90s, going to the Rose Bowl, et cetera, under Bo and then under Gary Moeller. But it was cool. But let's get to some more sound here that you picked up. I mean, who do you want to hear next? I mean, obviously, one of the stars of that 96 team, as it turned out, was a freshman by the name of Andy Katzenmoyer, the Big Cat. Like I said, Greg Belisari moved over to outside linebacker because they wanted Big Cat playing right away, and man, did he deliver.
Well, they wanted him so badly. He appealed to Archie Griffin for the number
4 or 5.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But anyway, that's why they've gotten now into basically honoring people with their name, if that happens anymore.
Okay.
Because if Ohio State retired every number that probably deserves being retired, they might be running around. Everybody might be running around in triple digits out there.
Right.
But anyway, let's get to your little talk with Andy Katzenmoyer.
Like 30 years, Andy?
No, it does not. Not even close.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday. Not yesterday, but maybe 15 years.
So to rub shoulders with all these guys again, and some you see, I guess, from time to time, but does the camaraderie come back? Is it still there?
It never leaves. Like I mean, some guys I see more than others just because they're local or you run in the same circles or whatever, but it's always great to catch up with guys and see former teammates and relive some of the memories and catch up where they're at today.
So it truly is a brotherhood.
For sure.
Well, I was just asking Matt if the staff was as talented as the players. You had some studs there, right?
Oh, staff-wise, we were loaded. Like, great staff, great players. I think it was, to me, it was the start of where Ohio State is today. Like, it's, John Cooper and his staff started bringing in guys nationally, and that tradition just kept on carrying over between all the transitions over the last few years.
And nobody's gained a pound. You haven't.
Well, I don't know about that. But thank you for saying that.
What's the most vivid memory of 96? I mean, you guys gave up 10 points a game. That's it. No wonder you won so many games.
Right. I think for me, it was winning the Rose Bowl. Just the whole experience of being at the Rose Bowl and then that game-winning drive and all the big plays that were made in the game for both sides and the back and forth and then obviously coming out with the win.
You were a youngster, man.
You're very young.
You were a freshman.
I don't remember the whole week at all. I don't at all, but I remember the game.
Yeah.
The week I was kind of like a blur. So,
what was it like playing with all these old heads?
It was great for me.
Yeah.
Because they told me the standard. They held me to it throughout the course of the season, and they never let me falter. Like, each one of them did their own thing to pick me up throughout the season, which was, very nice of them.
And to see them now?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's like catching up, like we're still in the locker room. It's
I was
awesome.
just about to say.
Yeah, nothing's changed. Yeah.
Cool.
Besides, we're all old and gray and all that stuff.
Thanks, Andy.
All right.
By the way, he can kill a golf ball. The golf police are after him. I don't know if he knows that or not, but
I remember going into Westerville South when he was being recruited as a senior. We were in his pottery class, and his teacher said, "Look at Andy's pinch pot. It's just so." Rothman and I will never forget that teacher talking to him like he was a young artist on this way up.
Yeah.
Look at his pinch pot. And it just, but what a beast. I just remember the 98 game that Ohio State won, and he was I just remember him making one-hand tackles on the Michigan tight end, just slinging them down.
Yeah.
And he was a brute. Man.
God, there's a guy that, you just wish hadn't gotten banged up when he got to the NFL.
Yeah.
Because
did he play 1 year?
I don't remember. I just remember he went to the Patriots and,
28th pick.
It would have been, I think it would have been a hell of a career anyway. But bottom line is, what a player and what a key, key players come from all, like he talked about, they come from all parts of the country, but they also come in all different shapes and sizes and age groups. And that's most college football teams that are really, really good are sort of built like that. Even today, you have veterans and then the young guys coming up like Jeremiah Smith 2 years ago on that 2024 national championship team, a freshman, Caleb Downs, a transfer from Alabama, but just a sophomore, right on down the line. There were all these mix and match of players that college football coaches have to make happen. But he was right. Andy Cashmore hit a big point there about John Cooper and his staff going overland. Basically, as John Cooper used to say, our hub is Columbus, Ohio, and then we'll go as far as we have to go from there, whether it's to Westerville or to the West, to get players, or Florida, Texas,
Cali,
David Boston from Texas, from Humboldt, Texas, for example. And it's just cool.
Man.
Joe Germain from Arizona, one of the quarterbacks, right on down the line. It was just that was a real turning point. I agree with Andy Cashmore 100% for the program, because the program now, I don't know about you. I just see Ohio State right now under Ryan Day and all the work Jim Trussell did. And then, of course, Urban Meyer in that 1 year, Luke Fickell had to steer the ship for that 1 year, that interim year. But and now, but Ryan Day, all that work has gotten them to where they are. In my opinion, they are the elite program in the country. There may be another one like them. I think I would throw Georgia into that mix without a doubt. But I think they're on the same par, at least. Alabama, we'll see what's going on with Alabama in the next couple of seasons under Kalen DeBoer. But just that the continuity of this program, the tenacity of this program.
The recruiting pull.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everything.
Ohio State's on every kid's list.
Well, John Cooper had that famous line. He goes, he says, Tim, he goes, he told everybody else this, I'm sure too. He goes, Tim, he goes, there's no excuse for Ohio State not being really good because of the program, of what it can mean.
Right.
But there were all kinds of obstacles they ran through the years. I mean, John Cooper fought tooth and nail for coaches to get paid more. Because, when he came around, it's like it was, Ohio State was not known for paying its coaches, football or basketball, much money.
No.
And but then more than that, the assistant coaches.
Right.
And and Urban fought for more money for assistant coaches. And then so did and of course so is Ryan Day. That's obvious, what this payroll is like. But there's the old saying goes, there's one thing about climbing Mount Everest, but to climb it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Now that's something. And to just be
You're
near the pinnacle, you gotta set up those base stations as you're going up, man. You can't, if you go to slide off Mount Everest, you can't slide too far. And we've seen programs slide. You saw Alabama between Gene Stallings and Nick Saban. That thing went into I think all these nouveau fans of Alabama, anybody 30 or younger I don't think they remember any of that. Matter of fact, I think even the older people don't remember. Like my younger brother, Tony, who's 68, doesn't remember. I don't think some of the, now he'll watch this and he'll call me and go, "Oh, I remember it vividly," but, and he will. But my point is, there have been few programs. No, there haven't been any program that's been as consistently good and a few times elite along that way as Ohio State has been. And that's not doing rah-rah for Ohio State. As Kurt Cignetti said, Google it.
Right.
Paraphrasing Kurt Cignetti. You can Google it. Yeah. Well, hey, let's get to you. you ran into
Okay.
a trio here. What was this trio? It was
Kevin Griffin, Winfield Garnett, and Anthony Gwynn.
Anthony Gwynn.
And again, mostly more defense.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, these guys, they were on the team too, you know, and
you bet.
you know, too bad the offensive guys, like I said, took the late shuttle from whatever the official hotel was. No, I'm just joking. But let's get to what these guys had to say, because, you know, this was made up of all kinds of characters.
Right.
This team was.
Does it feel like 30 years?
Absolutely not. Yeah, feels like yesterday, man. It still feels like you get together with these guys and it just feels like yesterday, just like we were in the locker room in 1996, 97.
Some of these hugs, man, you know the camaraderie is still there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter. We haven't seen each other, and how many we gonna crack jokes soon as we see each other. It's gonna be like it was yesterday. But we know we all turning 50 and a little over 50, so our kids are graduating from things, so we're getting up there.
I beg to differ, Clay. I beg to differ. Hey, my mind is telling me go out there and play a pickup basketball game, and my body is like, I dare you. I dare you. But nah, it don't seem like 30 years though, man. Being around the fellas, I can remember like yesterday, hoisting that trophy down in Pasadena. It feels like yesterday. Definitely don't feel like 30 years.
Well, it's no wonder you won so many games with great players. You guys averaged 40 points on offense, and you only allowed 10.
Yeah.
So you knew you were loaded, right?
Well, you know what was really cool is the team worked extremely hard, right? And so everybody cared about each other, but we won the whole season in the summer and in the winter before that. And so all the stuff we did in the summer and kicking each other's butt in the summer during 7-on-7 and workouts and all the stuff that Coach K put us through, that's when we won. And so we would step on the field and you knew you were going to win because we were better prepared. And it was a testament to the character of the people we had in that locker room.
When you see Coach Pug, does it bring back,
Absolutely.
oh no, not him. Because he's the one who put you through all that, right?
I loved it though. We all loved Coach Pug. He was always a player's coach, even though he was get on you and talk, but he was a player's coach. We all cracked jokes with Pug in the locker room, but he didn't play, and we respected him for it, and the results, came from that. So,
did you deserve the national title?
Yeah, we deserved it. But I mean, in any sport on any level, sometimes you fall short, and we had a couple of those situations where I think everybody that was there over the years knew that we probably could have got one or two.
Yeah.
But we fell short, and it just makes it sweeter for the teams to come to go ahead and get one. But Pug recruited my brother over the years when I was younger, so I knew him once I started getting recruited. I knew him for years once he recruited Jason, and it's like just like a big family, man. It's like a big family.
Anything else y'all want to add?
Not much.
You're good, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, you're still
Good
pretty,
seeing
man.
y'all.
You're still pretty.
Anthony Gwynn, who can forget? He was one of my favorite dudes on those teams. His brother Jason, tragic, died in that traffic accident. What a night that was in Ohio State football history. He had a guy who was kind of involved in that, Obie Stillwell. You remember that was just a weird night. But still R.I.P. Jason Gwynn, who man, could have been Will Smith. I mean, you remember the way Will Smith played.
Oh my.
And what Jason Gwynn brought was just unbelievable. But Anthony, still one of my favorite guys. I mean, like he said, these guys still look pretty young, but they're in their 50s, right? So you remember how young you and I used to look in our 50s, right?
That's been in the rearview mirror for a while.
We need to talk to John Gerber, our ultimate owner of fanstreamsports.com, but we could use a makeup artist, I think, here. What do you think? Huh?
Well, they
on staff.
That would bankrupt if they're working on me. That would bankrupt the place. So
what's the word? They'd be using? What's that word? Foundation. A lot of foundation when it came to me.
We should mention they were passing these out today.
Yeah, I thought that's sweet.
Yeah, that's a nice.
There was a Rose Bowl representative there. It was gonna, honor them also.
Maybe you have mentioned it. Ross Bjork was honored for his continued support.
I did mention that. Yeah.
So and we have some stuff, and as he was accepting, but at any rate, he was also one of the honorees, I guess, before they teed it up. Some played, some didn't, but all had a good time. That's for sure.
By the way, I think it speaks. You can read into this what you want, but this is a team from 1996 that understands what Ross Bjork has sort of brought to the table. He's got to feel really good about being honored by a bunch of Buckeyes from 30 years ago,
Right.
which means
Right.
in some form or fashion, he's hit a nerve with them too. I mean, he's the current athletic director, but they respect what he's kind of brought to the program.
Well, it took about 10 seconds for him to say it's about football. I mean,
Yeah.
his welcome address, football is king, not in so many words,
But he's right.
But not only that, but doing this as well off the field to commemorate their contribution. And Ryan Miller, and many spoke to this, how many Jerry Rosinski's son, Ryan Rosinski, was honored as the student devotee of 2nd and 7. And he talked about having a Hog Molly book in his crib or this or that or the
Right.
other. And a couple of people spoke to how many different high schools and colleges around the country implemented this type of program.
Oh yeah. I
And
mean,
so
it's grown like you wouldn't believe.
oh my, I mean, Fickle, Vrabel, and Ryan Miller kicked that thing off. And Vrabel's parents were educators. Fickle, I don't recall, but that emphasis and to enable people to climb out of tough surroundings, or just to be able to climb the ladder even quicker.
Here's the other guy you got sound with. I mean, you and I worked a little bit with him last year, the Clay May report, which I still think is one of the great names of any. And I had to fight you tooth and nail to call it the Clay May report. I go, May Clay doesn't sound that cool. Clay May sounds like a person.
Either way.
Yeah. Hey, Clay May.
Big Matt.
But the bottom line is, Matt Fink has had this thing going on. I think they're reshaping their focus. But I enjoyed doing those post-practice little videos for him and his company last football season. And we'll see where that goes. But, Matt is irascible. That's the word. Like I called John Tenuta irascible.
Yeah.
But Matt, speaks his mind, and he has,
he does.
a certain bent to himself. And he had a fairly long time talk show, radio talk show in Columbus, which was extremely well received.
Mm-hmm.
But occasionally he'll go over the edge on his side of things. Is that the best way of putting it?
Yeah, that's pretty descriptive.
But one of the most, in that respect, still one of the most stand-up dudes you've ever met in your life. Am I right about that?
Yeah, he's going to tell you where you stand.
Yeah,
he really will.
Yeah,
but
he's living life, man.
He's an enjoy. Yeah, he takes it all in.
Yeah. Well, let's get to what he had to say to you.
All right.
You two being old-time buddies.
Yeah. As I've been telling these guys, it's no wonder you won so many damn games. You gave up 10 points on defense, and you scored 40 on offense. What's it like to see these fellas again?
I mean, it's always great to run into these guys. You see some of them here and there, but to get the big group together like this, it's really special. I mean, 30 years goes by in a blink of an eye, but great to see these guys all together again, and thinking back to what we were able to do, a while ago. It was fun. Good run.
And Coach Pug, is that, do you like seeing them, or do you remember all that tough stuff?
No, I mean, it's all good. I mean, love Pug, love Tenuta and Coach Conley and Coop. Get to see Coop every once in a while here and there. But, I mean, it's great seeing everybody. I mean, they're hard asses on you, but that's what made us good. So, I mean, that's what, you appreciate that as you get older.
Was the staff as talented as the players?
I mean, I think you look top to bottom, and then even the guys that were kind of here for a year, like Walt Harris and those guys on the offensive side. I mean, a lot of great talent on the offensive staff, defensive staff, and meshed well with the players.
What's the most vivid memory? Because I've seen some great video of you after Germain to Boston, and you were out almost in the middle of the field just going nuts.
Honestly, the best memories when you get around these guys is just the times that when you weren't on the field. I mean, hanging out with these guys and thinking back to the times and telling stories about the stuff that we would do just hanging out. Those are better than the on-the-field memories, to be honest.
Anything else you want to add?
No, man, that's good, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a departure.
Matt-
that tells you that all of that brotherhood, all of that friendship, and blood, sweat, and tears means something.
Yeah, but he and Andy Katzenmoyer conspired on one of the great plays of the season against Indiana when they're playing in Indiana, and Indiana gave him a hell of a game. You know, Bill Mallory was the head coach, and the college fumble, scoop, and score.
Yeah, he took it off his back.
Yeah, yeah, put that game away. I know I had a buddy of mine. Go ahead.
I meant to ask him if Indiana ever made you pay for the fence you broke in the might have been the south end zone.
Yeah, it would have been the south end zone. Yeah,
as he returned that ball for a touchdown,
right down the sideline,
which, as I recall, clinched their trip to the Rose Bowl.
That's what I just said.
Yep.
I mean, and after that game, I had a buddy of mine who got real upset because they all had roses. They all ended up with roses somehow, some way.
Yeah.
In their mouth, and they're clenching their teeth and things like that. And he always took umbrage with the fact that they didn't understand the game.
Yeah.
The game was the next week. Don't tell me what you've done. Tell me what you're going to do. Right. And he thought that was that one thing that took a little bit of their focus away because they were a better team than Michigan. Michigan
season was ranked 21st as I was looking it up last night.
But they were a better team. And then the offense scored 9 points the next week when John Cooper decides, you know what? Let's start Joe Germain for the first time ahead of Stan Jackson and see how it goes. And they got three field goals in the first half.
That's right.
And scored no more.
Yeah.
Scored no more. And everybody talks about the slip. You said Sean wasn't there, obviously.
Yeah.
At least when you were there. But the slip by Sean Springs, everybody, even Coach Cooper's brought it up, and I always remind them, the slip and the score on that touchdown pass only made it 9-7. You still had the lead.
Yes.
Score one touchdown.
How many people have you told? I've told.
Score one touchdown in the second half,
and
you win the game. Score one touchdown and those 3 field goals. One of them's a touchdown. You win the game. Heck, you might have shut them out. Ty Streets going right down the middle of the field after that little slant. But that is what it is. They still could have, should have, would have won the national championship even that year. But because they had as many losses as Florida did.
That's right. Both 11-1.
Florida got a rematch, and Ohio State beat the number 4 team in the country. No, Ohio State beat the number 2 team in the country in the Rose Bowl, but it was determined Florida and Steve Spurrier deserved finally a national championship. And they built a statue of Steve Spurrier in Florida, I think. And it's funny. Urban won 2 national championships down there. I don't know if he has a statue yet or not.
I don't think so.
But and I don't think they've built a statue for Coach Cooper yet.
No.
Have they?
No.
I'll just leave yet out there because yet means infinitesimal. It could still happen. But man, what a bunch of guys, and what a hell of a team that John Cooper and his staff put together. His revamped staff. Walt Harris came in and just redid the passing game, became a really modern style passing attack there in 95 and 96, especially, and just right on down the line. Great seeing those guys together. Anything you want to add?
No, Coop mentioned a side, I think, after you were off. He said, remember the first 2 games, 72-7 or
Rice
77?
and Pitt.
And Ken Hatfield said, John, I'll never vote for you in the polls again, because he thought he ran it up. But
Pitt, same way. Mark May never forget that Pitt game.
Yeah. No, you're right. He had an axe to grind forever.
And then Matt Wilhelm, a mistake mistook me for Mark May. He had heard Mark May pick Miami to win the national championship, in 02, the game.
Oh, sure. Right.
Yeah. And against Miami. And he goes to me, he goes, yeah, but you picked Miami. And I go, oh, wait a minute. No, you got the wrong May. That's my brother by another mother. But it was pretty funny. He still apologizes for that. But I'm talking about Matt, not Mark May.
Right.
But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
We'll do that podcast in 02.
We filled a Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us again here on the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. Very much featuring Clay Hall today, both as a cinematographer and as a contributor in the terms of giving some of his thoughts. I mean, it was cool. There have been some great teams at Ohio State. People get wrapped up in the national championship aspect of things, and they don't realize, I keep saying this too, about the last many years. This is the golden era of Ohio State football, man.
Yeah.
Dude, in the first quarter
And
century, in the first quarter of the 21st century, Ohio State has won what, three national championships, and is the winningest major college program in the country in the first quarter of the 21st century. That's pretty cool.
And it doesn't end. It's
No,
that run, as you say.
the expectations, as Ryan Day said,
They never.
the only thing about Ohio State is they just expect you to win every game, and he's embraced that.
Yep.
He's endured the slings and arrows.
Right.
I mean, golly, I won't get into it. I saw a tweet today underneath one of the things where we posted about RJ, but they were just talking about takes another shot at Ryan Day for a national championship he could have won, and then takes a shot at him about, well, the one you did win. I'm just going, dude, this is one of those guys that you're never going to satisfy, never should try to.
That's it.
If you're a brush salesman, you move on to the next house.
You said it.
A vacuum cleaner salesman, you move on to the next house. Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you joining us. That's Clay Hall. I'm Tim May. Until next time, we will see you then.